Hi coders! How is everybody doing today? Welcome to Code Club. I hope nobody had any questions about the email that I sent out earlier. Nothing too crazy. I'm just not going to be sending email updates every week. I didn't think it was super necessary since we're at the same link every week. So you can just assume that we'll be here, we'll be coding, we'll be making things. Yeah. For anyone who's new, you can go to the link that I am just about to post in the chat right now. It's going to be Surprise Emoji. This is one of my favorite projects on VidCode. It uses a lot of really cool things. It uses randomness. It actually uses a built-in JavaScript object, which is kind of cool. Hi, Awesome Gamer 333, welcome. And it uses emojis, which are pretty cool. Usually this project is just like one emoji, like a random emoji will appear. I think it would be fun. I know we did a project for those of you who were here for that, where we did like a magic 8-ball. It's going to be using a lot of sort of those same concepts. But I think it would be fun if we did, instead of like just a single emoji, if we did like a whole like generated like creature. So it'll have like a face and a body and like legs, like a tail. I don't really even know what emojis are available. We will find out. And maybe it'll have like a background too, like maybe like the color will change. So I just want like lots of randomness, lots of random things happening. So it will be surprise emoji. It'll be like many surprise emojis, just like surprise emojis, plural. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, I posted the link for anyone. If you have trouble getting to it, just like post in the chat or something. And I will make sure to help you out. I'll have the chat open so I can get to anyone if they like write any comments or need any help with their code or anything like that. Cool. So to get started, first we're going to select a background. As always, let me make sure that the media gallery is like visible for you all. It is. Okay, cool. So as always, you can upload your own here. But I'm actually not really, yeah, okay, so I'm going to choose one as like a default for now, but just know that I'm going to make it random later. So for now, I'm just going to choose the cityscape. And that'll just sort of be what I choose. So as always, once you've chosen your video, you can just go ahead and drag and drop it into your code editor. And it'll load. This line, movie.source, is going to be a lot more important than it usually is, because we're actually going to be changing the source when I like randomly change my video. Cool. So does anyone remember about variables and arrays? We used arrays 2 clubs ago when we did famous filters. So we used arrays to hold like all the different types of filters you could have. This time we're going to be using arrays to actually hold a list of our emojis. So we could have just one emoji, or we could have like 5 or 6 or 7, or infinite. The cool thing about arrays is that they know how long they are. So they can kind of be filled with as many things as we want them to be. And we can just use their like properties, like the length of the array, to pull things randomly from it. I see we just got some more people joining. For anyone who just joined, the link to follow along is going to be in the chat. We just started. You didn't miss anything. Let me make sure no one's having trouble getting on. I always worry that people aren't able to get on to the live stream. Okay, cool. It seems like people are able to. Cool. So then let's go ahead and create a variable and call it, this says my emojis. To me, I think it's obvious that it is my emojis. It's my project. So I'm actually just going to call it emojis. So to do that, I'm just going to write the word var because I'm creating a variable. And then I'm just going to write emojis. That's how I create variables. When you create a variable, it's up to you. You can put things in it. If I wanted to put an emoji in it, I would just set this equal sign. This equal sign is letting it know that I'm putting something inside of it. I would like just put an emoji here. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm not putting this emoji on my project. All I'm doing is creating this this variable, this container called emojis, and putting something in it. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it empty. So the next step is to set it to an empty array. Same thing as variables. I can make arrays that are already full and then add things later with something like a list. Or I can just, I can make them empty and then fill them later. Or I can fill them like up in advance, like actually in my code. I'm going to do it that way eventually, but for now, I'm just going to create an empty array. So to do that, you're just going to set your variable to this open square brace and then a closed square brace. So that's all it is. When I eventually add things to my array, I'm just going to put this comma between them. So this array has 3 elements. If I did this, the array would still have 3 elements, right? It would be 1, 2, and then 3, 4. And this is 1 element because it doesn't have a comma between it. So that's what I'm eventually going to be doing, except with emojis. But for now, just set your array to nothing, just to be empty. Okay, cool. So now it's time to fill it with emojis. Like I said before, I want this to not just be a random emoji. I want it to be like a whole emoji creature. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so I'm actually going to change this. Instead of emojis, I'm going to make it body, because this is going to be the body of my creature. Yeah, okay. So then these are all the elements that could be the body of my creature. I'm going to have an array to be its head, its tail, its legs. But for now, we're just going to do its regular body parts. So I'm just going to open this link. For those of you who are newer here and haven't done emoji projects with us in the past, if you're on a Mac, you can just go up to Edit and then Emojis and Symbols. But I find it easier to sometimes just go to a website. So I posted Get Emoji in the chat. You can go ahead and open that up, and then from here you can actually just copy and paste these emojis. So I am working on my creature's body right now. I guess it could just be like a doctor coat. So I'm going to copy this. So I'm just copying this doctor coat and then going back to my code. When you paste your emojis in, be really careful that they are in quotation marks. So sometimes the emojis can mess up the spacing of your text. So sometimes I like to put in the quotation marks beforehand and then just paste it in. Nothing's going to happen yet because just like before when I was messing around with this, there isn't anything that's generating this emoji onto my project. But for now, as long as it's in quotation marks, be confident that it's right and it's working. If it's not, if you do something wrong, you're going to get an error. So if you see this blue line, just know that you're probably just missing a quotation mark somewhere or a comma or something like that. What else? If you all have an idea about what I should do here, you can post it in the chat as well. I guess I could do a fish, right? Like a fish body. I feel like I should have started with a head because I feel like that's easier. It could be a Christmas tree. I think that's fine. So its body could be a Christmas tree. Or its body could be a puzzle piece. Yeah, that's enough. I don't know about this one. I might change this stuff later, but I like it for now. So this is what mine looks like. Yours might still be called emojis. That's fine. Just go ahead and fill it with emojis and let me know if you have any trouble or you're getting an error that you don't understand. So the next thing that I'm going to do here is just, I want to actually make these elements appear on my screen, right? Because what am I doing otherwise? So you should see a button appear if you're on the same step that I am. So I'm on 5 out of 21 here. So go ahead and drag in this text block. And the word hello is just going to appear on your screen. You can change this. Don't worry about it right now. Okay, so we're going to take this instead and access the very first element of our array. Does anyone remember how to do that from Famous Filters 2 weeks ago? I'm going to pause for a second here and see if anyone can answer my question. If I was going to access the first array here, this doctor code, what number would I use to access that first element in my array? You can take a guess as well. You guys are all so quiet in the chat today. So I would use just the element 0, like the number 0, and that's because arrays are going to start counting at 0. So the doctor code, for example, would take, I would use square brackets to access it, and I would say like array element 0. So it's 0, 1, 2. That's why I asked, because you think it would be 1, because that's how humans count. But computers count a little bit differently. Oh no, Luke's, do you want to post your code? Okay, perfect. Luke's, you're missing a comma. So if you update your emojis to be like that instead with a comma between them, they'll work. I like that you're using flowers. That's awesome. So here I'm going to go ahead and write body, which just happens to be what my array is called. Luke's, for example, would use emojis because that is the name of their array. You can see that it's already updated here, but it's adding all of them, which I don't want to do. I just want to add one. So I'm going to add an open square bracket. I'll zoom in here so you can see. Open square bracket, close square bracket, and then just a 0 in it. And here it is. So play around with it. I'm going to make this bigger. Make sure that you're able to get all of the emojis out of your array. And then it's looking good. Since I know that I kind of want it to be like a four-legged sort of like dog creature, I'm going to move it to where I know that I want it. Egads. Who's saying egads? Hello. Welcome. I'm also going to rotate it. Since, like I said, I want it to be sort of like a dog creature with 4 legs. What am I doing? Okay, awesome. So that's looking good. Let me double check that it's looking good with my other elements too. So you guys can do the same thing. So you go ahead and use these sorts of properties. So the text object has properties like .size, .x, and .y, and .rotation. And those are all the properties you have to customize your text. So knowing that like a random emoji is going to be chosen every time you load the project, just spend this time to sort of customize it, set it up how you want it. Okay, cool. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so I'm on step 8 right now. It's just asking us to sort of play around with the numbers. We've already done that. Okay, we are on step 10 out of 21 if you want to go ahead and catch up. I want to try and get through this a little bit quickly because I want to get to the point where we can like add other elements to the creature, so its face and its legs and stuff like that. So we're going to be using the length property of our array to choose a random number. We're basically going to be making a random number generator between 0 and the length of this array. And we could hard code it. We could just hard code it to 3. But then this isn't a very good program. What if we wanted to make a program where people could like submit their own array or their own emojis? What if another programmer came in or you came in and went to go like update your array? So we basically want to make this program change when something like the length of the array changes. And we can use the length of the array to do that. So let's go ahead and do that right here. So I am going to do it on line 5, and I'm just going to say var len, which is just the length of my array, equals, and then the name of my array variable. So once again, mine is body because this is going to be the body of my creature. Yours might be emojis or my emojis. So use that language when you're doing this right now. So I'm going to write body dot length, and all that is doing is saving like the length of my variable. So let me show you. So if I write log len, my log is just going to say 3. And like I was saying before, if I added something to this, now it's 4. So all this is doing, all this like line 5 code is doing, is saving an array with the length of my, is saving a variable with the length of my array so I can use it later in my code. Let me know if anyone has questions about that. Okay, cool. So we're going to use something called the math object to actually make our random number generator. Randomness in computer world is super, super hard and complicated. We aren't going to write our own random number generator because that would be super, super hard. We're going to use one that JavaScript kind of already has available for us, and we're just going to customize it. So let's go ahead and make that random number generator. I'm going to do it in between lines 4, where I create my emoji, and lines 9 through 13, where I sort of create or like generate on the page and customize my emoji. In between those 2 lines is where all the math magic is going to happen. What do you guys keep retracting? Cool. So pay attention here. Yeah. I'm just posting my code in the chat for anyone watching. Cool. So pay attention here because we're actually going to be writing something into our code editor, and it's really easy to make a mistake here. So I'm about to write math with a capital M, which is calling the JavaScript math object. And if it's not with a capital M, it's not going to work. Dot random, and then an open parenthesis and a close parenthesis. It's a function. I know it's a function because of the open parenthesis and the close parenthesis. As we remember from like previous coding clubs, functions are kind of like verbs. They're like jump or run. They're telling your code to do something. So math.random is saying JavaScript, the language, the greater language, give me a random number, create a random number. So if I want to see this working, I can just log it. So I'm just going to throw this into a log. If you all want to use the log function to check your own code, it's really easy. You just write the word log, and then an open parenthesis and a close parenthesis, and just write anything you want inside it. And it'll appear in your console here. I know we don't really go over that in detail. So you can see here, every time I refresh, my log, I'll zoom in because it's a little hard to see. It's giving me a random number between 0 and 1. So right now it's 0.07. If I refresh, it's 0.49. I'm trying to get my zooming right. 0.448, 0.95, 0.35. Okay, so I hope I've convinced you that this is in fact a random number between 0 and 1. So now let's use it, right? Like this number isn't super valuable to me. Like I need a random number that is not 20 characters long. I need one that's just 0, 1, or 2, right? Because that's how long my array is. So that's the part we're sort of creating. So let's work on that. Oh boy. There we go. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and take math.random, and because it's a number between 0 and 1, all we have to do is just multiply it by this variable len, right? I already saved it. I already saved the variable of my, or the length of my array. And here we go. Now it's giving us a random number between 0 and 2. Right now it's 0.34. I press refresh. It's 2.85. It's 0.87. Still not super valuable to us, right? Like if you look at my code, line 9 has var myText1 equals text body 0, right? Like I'm calling 0 here. Ria, can you push your code in? And if I called instead of 0, like 0.5, nothing's going to happen. There is no 0.5th element in my array. So the other thing I have to do here is use something called math.floor, and that rounds my number down. So here it is. So I would write math.floor, and then surround this. So now, and I'm going to share this code with you because it is a lot of code. It's so much code. Every time I refresh it, you can see in my console, I'm getting a number between 0 and 2, like a whole number, a number I can actually use in my array. And because I'm using this length property, if I added something else here, I'll just put in like random number. Now it'll give me a random number between 0 and 3, because there are 4 elements, so 0, 1, 2, 3 in my array. So that's how that works. I will post this math code in because it is so much code, guys. Ria, if you can share your code, just post it in the editor, or I mean, sorry, the chat. I can kind of help you debug it. Okay, cool. So let's use this number. So let's call it var rand equals. So now it's saved as something, so I can actually use it. It's actually useful to me. And then all I have to do, so just in case, I know that was kind of fast, all I did was take this like random number generator I wrote and just put it in a variable called rand. So nothing's changed, except now I'm actually storing that number, so I can actually do something with it. It's not just like sitting there in the greater universe of my code editor. And now instead of using body 0 here, I'm going to write rand. And all that's doing is using the random number here and pulling it here. And there we go. Now I have a random number. Hooray. I actually kind of like the tree. I'm going to change this. So instead of a creature, I'm actually changing my mind. I'm going to make a scene. So one of them is going to be a Christmas tree. I'm going to change this rotation to not exist. What's broken? What did I break? Oh, I need to change this back to emojis. What else did I break? Here we go. I need to change this back to emojis as well. Okay, there we go. My code is no longer broken. All right, that's looking good. I'm actually going to make it bigger. Okay, cool. And I'm going to go ahead and choose like different trees that this could be. So one of them is going to be this tree. One of them is going to be this giant sunflower. I feel like giant sunflowers are like very hip right now. And then one of them is going to be just like a massive, scary giant snowman. Cool. So I like that. I feel like that like fits into the scene. So the next thing I'm going to do is, let's see, I feel like it's a little bit too big. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my new powers. I'm actually going to pause here. So at this point, if you were following along, your project should be working. Every time you press this refresh button, you should see a random emoji. It should be going through all of them at some point or another. So how is everyone doing? Tell me how you're doing in the chat. Is everyone's project working? Okay, so I then will show you how you can use these powers to create like a random background as well. Okay, awesome, Luke. So here I'm just going to say var videos, right? If I'm going to choose a random background, I need an array of videos. So I'm going to say, I'm going to keep my city one. So I'm just going to take in parentheses or in quotation marks the name of my like actual video file. And I'm going to put that here. I'm going to put a comma because it's a new element, and then in quotation marks I'm going to write night stars.mp4 because that's the name of the file. I can see it down here. And remember, I have to copy these exactly, like the capitalization has to be the same or it's not going to work. And then I'll do fireworks.mp4. Cool, so now I have an array. My video isn't changing, and that's because I need to actually write some of like what I did before to actually make it change. So I'm going to go ahead and actually set rand to be up here instead. So I'm going to go ahead and create rand here. Delete this var so I can have it twice. And then instead of len, which is the length of my emojis array, I want it to be the length of my videos array. So I'm just going to write videos.length. And then under movie.source, I'm just going to write videos. And then in my square brackets here, I'm just going to write rand. Cool. So now I'm not just, let me change that so it's always on the right. So it's always like actually on the screen. Cool. So now I'm not just choosing a random emoji, I'm also choosing a random background, which is kind of cool. Let's see, what else can I change? I can put like some like kind of like creature in the sky here. So basically I just kind of do this again. So I would say instead of, I have my emojis here already. I'm just going to press enter a bunch of times so you guys can see my code fresh. So here I'm going to write var sky creatures. Let's see, Ria. So if you change the name of any of your arrays, it might stop working. But if you want to share your code, I can look through it as well. So I'm going to go ahead, yeah, var sky creatures, and then an empty array. I'll just do this until Ria posts their code. So one cool sky thing could be Saturn. Saturn could be in the sky. You guys don't have to do this part, but if you do want to add like multiple emojis, this would be the way to do it. Like a UFO would be cool. I'm just choosing like one more thing to put up in the sky. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble here. An airplane's a good idea. Let's do that. Where'd they go? Oh, here it is. Okay, cool. Let's do that. Perfect. Okay, gotta put it in quotation marks. Okay, awesome. So same thing as before. I'm gonna go ahead and drag text in. And then instead of hello, I wanna say sky creatures. And I'm just gonna choose like a random, and just type correctly. I'm just gonna choose like my planet just to put there, just so I can see it and customize it. And I'm going to use my different properties. I'm going to use the same variable name as before. So I'm going to say my text2. My text2. I'm going to make it a lot bigger. I'm going to say my text2.x, and I like want it sort of all the way over here. Cool. It's actually a bit too big. And then I'm going to move it down a little bit. Over a bit more. Okay, I think this is looking awesome. So it's obviously always Saturn, which I don't want. I want it to sometimes change. So all I have to do is go up to this like random code, copy it, yeah, we're adding a lot of code here. So for anyone that's having bugs, you might want to try like commenting out some of the new code to see if your old code still works. Or you can always just post your code in the chat and I can open it up and help you edit it. I don't know, guys. Yeah, perfect. I'm also almost done here, so if you guys want to like publish your projects and send me a, oh no, you can't really send a link. Well, I can just open them up from our interface and help you guys debug from those too. So I can just like remix your projects and help you debug. And then same thing as before. I'm just going to take this and set it to rand instead. And now I have my random generator. Okay, now I'm just going to help you all debug. No more. I'm publishing, submitting my project, random emojis in random places. So if it doesn't let you post all of your code at once, here's my project, hooray! If it doesn't let you post all of your code at once, you can post it in pieces, or you can just submit it and I will be able to pull it up. Just like let me know what it's called in the chat so I can look for it, okay? You guys are all so quiet. Let's see. So Luke, some of the reason that your videos might not be showing up might be that there's a bug somewhere in your code. It might be because you have a typo here, or maybe the names of the files aren't in quotation marks. Let me get the, what's the name of this project? Surprise emoji. I was typing in random emojis, nothing was coming up. Luke's? Yeah, so I can look up the name of your project. Just like post the name of it, and I can help you debug. Oh, then go ahead and just post the code instead. Oh no. This is all a nightmare. Oh, Ria, it's okay. I have your project. So Ria, I believe your project is right here. Is this yours? With the dog, and the, like shirt here? Okay, awesome. So let's remix it, get it working, and then I'll send you the link, okay? So it looks like here, so this part's working fine. Okay, so it looks like we're getting an error here. Okay, Ria, this is a really, really interesting error. Okay, Luke, I'm gonna get to yours in a second. Perfect. So do you see how this error here says redefinition of length? So there are like some words in JavaScript that you can't edit. Like you can't set them as variables, and it's just like a weird thing. This is one of them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and delete that. Yeah, here's my project, guys. And your project is working perfectly. So you just had like a weird JavaScript bug that like wasn't something that you would have ever known. So then the only other thing you have to do is just set this on line 7 to a random number. And then here, set that to rand. And I think this should be working, no? Oh, because this is still set to length. There you go. Okay, awesome. So let me publish this. Ria, you can remix it and save it back to your portfolio. Ria's project. Yeah, so what I would recommend doing is just pressing the remix button, like playing around with it, making any changes that you wanted to make. And then when you submit it, it'll be saved to your portfolio now that you're signed in. Okay, Luke, I am checking out your project. Looks good. Looks good. This is a really pretty project, Luke. I really like it. I always really like the emoji flowers. Okay, so the reason, let me organize this code really quick. So the reason that, so the flowers are giving random. Those are so pretty. So this needs to be set to rand as well. And then they will both be random. Perfect. So what I changed here, Luke's, is var my text2 equals text flowers. I set this number from 0 just to rand. So the reason that your video isn't loading is because you don't have anything set to movie.source here. So normally movie.source, I think we need to set a video here too. So it's essentially we want to write we want to tell it that the type is video. Let me check how to do that again. Yeah, so we want movie equals video. We want this to stay up here. And then I'm going to get rid of movie.source. So we have all of these different videos we could pull from. We have a random number that we're choosing. So then here in source, we want to choose something, right? Like we can't just leave it here. Like we could write like videos 1, and that'll give us night stars. Video 0, and that'll give us city sunset. So if we write instead just the word rand, it'll choose like a random video for us. So were you following along there? So basically I had to set the video.source to be something. This is the line, this line 4, movie.source equals. It's actually going to change our video. No problem. If you want your code, I will post the link. Cool. Let me see if anyone else posted a project and wants to share it. Cool. Well, thank you all so much for coming. I hope everyone had fun. Like I said, this is one of my favorite coding projects on VidCode. I just really like it. I like randomness. I like feeling like I'm sort of making something with the computer. And so with that, I will see you all next Thursday. Oh, okay, Richa, can you submit it so I can remix it? Bye, everyone. I'm going to stay and fix Richa's code. Or actually, Richa, could you email me your project code at leandra@vidcode.com, and I can help you from there, because we only have 2 minutes left. So you can either copy and paste your code, or you can just send me the link and I will send you sort of instructions to help you debug it. Okay, I'm actually going to stay then. No one else has to stay. I'm just going to stay and help Richa with their projects. Bye. Okay, cool. So let's see what's going on here. So I can tell just from posting your code in Richa that it looks like the error is right here. So for me, it's on line 6. So var my text1 equals text emojis rand. So it looks like, okay, so here you need to save rand as a variable. So to do that, you have to write the word var before it, just to tell your code that it's a new variable. And it looks like with that, your project actually completely works. So that was a really easy fix. So if you update your rand to var rand, your project should work no problem. Here's all the code. Or I'll just post the project. Done. That's a really hard one, because like some implementations of JavaScript, so you should just be able to write the word var before rand. That should work. You might, Still not working. I'm not sure. Could you post just that one line of code? Or if you like publish your project too, I can remix it directly. Yeah, that is what I have. And it's still not working? What error are you getting? Okay, oh yay! Okay, I'm glad that your project is working. No one had to stay for that, but if you did, you got to see an exercise in debugging, so it's all good. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and I will see you next Tuesday to code some more.